Hey everyone, welcome back. So it's been a little while. Anyone who watches the channel quite closely would have noticed that my July monthly haul was missing, sheerly because I ran out of time. So yeah, there was a few sort of unexpected things cropped up at the end of July, which I had to sort of divert my attention over to. And then before you know it, it's school holidays and you've got little ones running around, and your attention's gone over towards them instead. So yeah, this is the first time I've got an opportunity to sit down and record a pickups video. So this is going to be my July pickups as well as my August pickups, all sort of rolled into one video. So it'll all be sort of caught up by the end of this. So yeah, that's kind of like a quick, bit of housekeeping there, just to say where I've been for the last sort of month or two. So yeah, thanks for everyone who's patiently waited for a video. Just want to do a long overdue shout out as well. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of videos from a channel called Twisted Locker. So Curtis and Jenks, yeah, great guys over there, a couple of Welsh fellas who do brilliant live streams. The banter over there they've got is amazing. You go over to the channel, so welcoming as well. They're one of the most welcoming sort of like channels I've ever been into. I sort of stumbled across their channel and, I was watching a live stream and I just made a couple of comments on there as you would do normally. And then, within seconds, they're shouting my channel out, and I don't even know if they knew I had a channel. Somehow they worked that out. Didn't ask them to, obviously. That's I don't shout my own channel out. So for someone else too, that's really nice. But yeah, really great guys, do really great live streams. They're sort of into their horror stuff. I enjoy the fact that they do meet in the middle on opinions sometimes, with their kind of like choices of whether they like certain films, but they also have opposing opinions as well, which is always quite nice to see. But yeah, most of all, I just love their like banter they have between the pair of them when they're sort of like doing their live streams. So yeah, if you like a bit of horror movie chat, then pop over to their channel. I'll link it all down below. They're also doing their own solo channels now, which I'll put in the description below. So they've got their own little solo projects going on as well, which are just starting out. But yeah, I personally, live streams for me, Twisted Locker, that's my favourite cream of the crop from their stuff they do. But they do a whole variety of other stuff on there for you guys to check out as well. So be sure to go check those guys out. So yeah, thank you, Twisted Locker, for shouting me out a few times on your own channels now, and hopefully I've repaid the favour there. So yeah, thanks very much. Let's get on with the pickups. Okay, so the first thing I picked up, and I'm going to have to cast my mind back now to 2 months ago, basically, when I picked these up and watched them. So yeah, the first one I picked up, I must say, started with a bang. So this one is a movie from Frank Darabont, guy who did obviously Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. This, I think, completes my collection from him now. So directed by him. It's a TV movie called Buried Alive. So there is a few Buried Alive movies out there if you IMDb Buried Alive, so just be careful you get the right one if you're searching up yourself. But yeah, TV movie. I'll be honest, I did get a little nervous when I started watching this because it's the old-fashioned 4:3 being a TV movie sort of ratio aspect. And yeah, the first shot initially, and it's sort of in this like work cabin type thing. Yeah, it wasn't the best shot I could see. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if this is going to be a bit too TV sort of low budget movie for me. So I was a little concerned going in, I'll be honest. I mean, the sound sounded a little bit funky at the start as well, a bit like an old episode of Neighbours from the 80s. If anyone's familiar with that show, I'm sure they are. So yeah, it started off like that, and I was like, oh no, I think my expectations were too high going into this. Now, bearing in mind, it's probably one of his first movies, if not his first movie as director. But yeah, I must say, as soon as I sort of got into the movie, 5-10 minutes in, that was a distant memory. Sort of a movie of almost three different genres. Really good. So the basic outline for this one is sort of a married couple who live in this sort of big house. This guy's quite well off. His wife's a bit bored of the relationship basically, and she's decided that possibly she's going to leave him for this doctor fella who's I know him as the guy from Die Hard, the sort of news reporter from Die Hard, but he crops up in a few things. So these two basically are conspiring against her husband to say whether, like, if they bump him off, maybe they can take all of his money and his house and everything, and live happily ever after. So that's the sort of premise of the film. Really well done, really well shot, obviously, as you would expect, even from a very early one from Frank Darabont. There's like three almost different genres of film in here. It starts off as like a sort of kind of almost like a drama, I guess, for the first third of the movie. The second act of the movie is more then of like a thriller. And then it borderlines into a horror for the last act of the movie, which I really enjoyed all three parts of this. So yeah, if you haven't seen this one, definitely worth checking this one out. I would say if you like those sort of like 90s small town kind of like homely feel but thriller darkness movies, that doesn't make much sense, but you kind of get the idea of what I mean. Just have a look on IMDb. Highly recommend this one. Potentially, definitely the new watch of the month for me anyway, from all the stack I've got here. So yeah, that's the first one I picked up. So the next one I picked up was a movie called Hot Summer Nights. So this one I don't think has a UK release, but it's Timothée Chalamet, which I can take or leave. I'm not that fussed by him, to be fair. But yeah, it seemed like a kind of like coming of age drama, which, you know, those sort of things I do enjoy. But I must admit, it was a little bit... It wasn't quite there. It was okay. It was fine. It's just an average one, I would say. It doesn't sort of like push any boundaries or change anything for the genre itself. It's worth a watch, but there's not much more I can say on that one, to be honest. If you like your coming of age dramas and you're interested, again, it's worth probably checking out once or twice. Don't know whether it's worth paying a lot for to buy it, really. But yeah, worth having a look for. So the next one, what else did I get here? So I got another one which I think I'd seen fairly recently back at the time on Ollie's channel, possibly. Now this is one I had on DVD back in the day and watched it a few times. I feel like it's a fairly hard one to come across now. So it's a Eureka one, possibly out of print, I'm not too sure. And that's Junebug from 2005. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. As I remember having it back in the day on DVD and watching it a fair few times. I haven't seen this one in a long time, so I think this one, vague memory, is this couple, this pregnant woman obviously, and her husband go to see his family, I think it is, and there's a bit of a kind of disconnect between her and his family, and they're sort of trying to sort it out. It's like one of those little drama, sort of indie dramas that you might want to check out if you like those early 2000s indie drama style movies. But yeah, pretty sure this was a fairly good watch back in the day, so I do look forward to jumping back into that one as soon as I can. So this one was I wasn't going to get it. I debated on it for a long time, and then it went down a little bit on Amazon. I just thought, no, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to pull the trigger on it. So I love my teen comedies, especially those early 2000 teens comedies, and through the summertime I do enjoy just sitting down and watching those in my sort of like garage cinema setup. And this one came along and I thought, I've seen a couple of these. I actually thought I'd seen most of these, if not all of these, on DVD back in the day. But rewatching them, I couldn't remember hardly anything about any of them, so maybe I hadn't seen them. But that is the collection of the American Pie series. So these are the like straight to video, straight to DVD, kind of like no one really is in them apart from Eugene Levy. He's the only guy that kind of does all four of these or five of these, whatever there is. So you got Bandcamp, The Naked Mile, Beta House, and The Book of Love. So yeah, I had a good time with these, I'll be honest. I just sit in the garage and you know, pop open a cider and after work and just chill out to one of these. These are pretty funny, to be fair. There's some of them are better than others. I forget which one now I actually enjoyed the most, but I don't think it went with the majority when I looked on my Letterboxd app. I've got a feeling maybe Bandcamp was my favourite, but yeah, you'll have to go and check my Letterboxd out if you want to see what I thought of those ones. But yeah, they're all good, they're okay. Obviously not a patch on the first three and then the sort of reunion one, but they do feel a sort of spacing in between there. So a couple of titles here now I picked up, but I haven't actually got to yet, so I haven't watched these yet. I picked this one up because I think it was just under a £5 on Music Magpie, and I think it was at the time quite a new release, and that is Chuck Norris in Silent Rage. So I haven't seen this one yet, but you know, so I can't tell too much about it. I just know it was quite a bargain at the time to get it for under a £5, as it fairly recently came out. I haven't seen that many Chuck Norris movies, so yeah, looking forward to checking it out. So this one I've seen floating around on different lists online, and this one is a Brandon Lee movie, and this is Legacy of Rage from the 80s. So yeah, £6 in CEX. I thought it was a decent price. Like I said, I haven't seen this one. I'm sure a few of you out there would have seen this one, but obviously the guy who did The Crow, most famously did The Crow, also did like a martial arts action type movie with this one, so I do want to check it out, but I haven't seen it as yet. And then what else did I do? Oh, so then I ended up doing quite a lot of upgrading, not really to 4K necessarily. I mean, there was one in there, but I just upgraded my transfers. You'll get to see what I mean. So I think this is the start of July or mid-July. So I had an original edition of the Kiefer Sutherland version of Flatliners, the standard edition that came out years and years ago, and then I've been waiting and waiting for this version to go down in the Arrow sale, and it finally did. Really happy it came with a slip, obviously, on Amazon. But yeah, I can't remember even how much this was now. I think it was under £10, which is what I was waiting for. So I knew it was a new scan, and I just wanted to pick up the new scan. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with Flatliners. It's quite a sort of well-known film. I think Julia Roberts is in there, Kevin Bacon, Kiefer Sutherland, good cast. I like it. Medical students basically experiment with stopping each other's heartbeats and effectively killing each other to try and see if there's an afterlife. And I won't go much further into it other than that. So yeah, picked up that one for the new transfer. On a similar sort of like vein, I picked up the Arrow edition of Silence of the Lambs again because it was in the sale, and I wanted to just upgrade that transfer again because this was a new scan compared to the original one I had on Blu-ray. Another one that I had been sort of avoiding upgrading because I just couldn't justify it at the time, but again it came down in the sale, and it is one I really enjoy from back in those days of the early 2000s, and that is the Deep Blue Sea Special Edition. So yeah, this is the chunky box set. I've watched this so many times on DVD when I was growing up. I do have the standard edition over there. I can't remember if this is a new transfer or not. Don't know if it says on the back. Brand new 4K restoration, there we go. So there was some logic to my madness there. So yeah, it does have hopefully a cleaner, nicer scan than what the original Blu-ray in the box set I've got behind me does have. So yeah, looking forward to checking out the new scan on that. So this one again, I've retired my old, I think it was an ex-rental version I had of this movie. Again, another early 2000s. This one's mid 2000s, 2009. Last House on the Left remake. So this one I think was the 4K in the end. So my CEX had both the Blu-ray and the 4K version of this in stock. Now the 4K version was the only one that had the slip cover on it. And then when I checked on the back, I think the unrated version or the uncut version was only on the Blu-ray anyway. And I thought that's the one I'm going to use and watch the most. So I just thought I'm going to go for this one. Because I think on the other one you basically got Blu-ray for both, obviously the theatrical and the unrated, whereas this one it was the 4K has the theatrical version. And I thought it's unlikely I'm going to take the theatrical version over the uncut version of this one, and plus I like watching these on the projector, which I've said previously on the channel, which is only up to 1080p, which is absolutely fine enough. And with these new transfers I can barely tell the difference between the 4K and the Blu-ray on a lot of the times anyway. So yeah, really happy to pick this up. Obviously £10, that was quite a steal, because again I think that one had been lingering on the price point for quite some time and I've been waiting for it to go down. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. That's a good remake if you like your brutal kind of no holds barred horror. So this one I picked up based on hearing it again on a few channels over the years, saying it was quite good. Didn't know a lot about it. I just knew the title and Arrow had released it. It went down to that magical price of £6, which is where I'm going to jump on it in CX, and that is JSA. So this one, yeah, I watched this one. Really nice surprise, this one. So if anyone else doesn't know, like I didn't going into this one, I'll give you the loose outline of what this one's about. So this is it's kind of like a drama, really. So this one is basically we're between North Korea and South Korea. There is the sort of like mutual no-fire zone in between, sort of like where the two countries are basically pointing guns at each other, waiting for each other to kick off. And there's guys that are waiting in these huts. Now the story opens up on a single gunshot, I think it is, going through a wall and taking out a soldier in one of these security huts between the two countries. And then it becomes like a sort of investigation type movie into like what happened there, who fired the shot, who killed this soldier like that's been waiting on the other side of the country. And basically they call in two, I can't remember what they're called now, basically two impartial countries send in investigators to investigate like who fired the first shot, why did they fire the shot, what's happened there, why is there dead soldiers turning up at the sort of like the gap in between the two countries, and trying to work out what's gone on. So was it North Korea, was it South Korea? Who knows? So one guy survives and goes back to South Korea, but over on North Korea there's a lot of dead soldiers in this hut, and no one really knows, apart from the guy who came back, what exactly happened. So yeah, really enjoyed this, because this movie basically it tells you when they're investigating the situation, it basically shows you the investigation story from the north, which is different to the story from the south. So it shows you if the events panned out how they're saying it did, then it shows you that version, and it also shows you the version from the south. And then towards the sort of like middle, towards the end as well, they show you the actual version of events. And it's quite a nice film in some ways. Like, I know it's about these guys who got absolutely like slaughtered in this hut, but actually I really enjoyed this. It didn't go where I thought it was going. It was sort of like, it was a really nice film for what it was. You kind of understand if you see it. I would just wish that in the real world this was probably how things would have gone down, which sounds like a strange thing to say if you don't know what the film's about. But yeah, if you go and watch this film, I'd highly check it out. It's not a big war epic. It's literally just quite a close sort of like drama, almost like a courtroom drama to some extent, although they don't spend a lot of time in the courtroom. It's just literally bouncing between events of like what could have happened, showing you different scenarios, and then you as a viewer are trying to work out if and what one you believe, and then they reveal the true one, and then everything becomes clear at the end, which I really enjoyed. Highly recommend that one. So this one was just an upgrade. I've been dabbling with making it for a while now. Again, I don't know if it's said that 4K, I can't always tell the difference, but when this one dropped down to £5, I thought, I'm just going to do it. I do really, really enjoy this film. And that is Rise of the Planet of the Apes, so the first one. Now, this was one of those classic films where when I heard it was going to come out, I just thought, like everyone else probably, why are they touching a classic? Why are they rebooting something? It doesn't need rebooting. And then I had to eat my words, because I watched this film and I really enjoyed it. Watched it several times since then. And £5 to upgrade the Blu-ray, it just made sense at the time. I had a bit of voucher to use, so I thought I'm going to throw it in there. So yeah, if you haven't seen the Rise of the Planet of the Apes and the kick-off of the new rebooted movies, they are actually worthwhile. It's one of those rare occasions where they probably did do good in touching an old classic and giving it new life. So yeah, highly recommend that one as well, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So this one I just literally picked up on a whim. So when you're in CEX, you've gone in for your titles you're after, and then you see something on the shelf that just sort of like piques your interest you hadn't noticed on the app. So this is a Don Cheadle movie. I believe it's the film he directed. It might be his first and only, I'm not sure. Ewan McGregor's in this as well, and there's a movie called Miles Ahead. So £1.50. I knew nothing about it apart from the cast, but the cast sold me alone. And then it's about Miles. Oh gosh, it was so long ago. Miles Davis. So long ago since I watched it. So yeah, in the late 70s, it's a little bit of a small crime caper with Miles Davis in the centre. Not a true story. It's just like, imagine if Miles Davis got mixed up in this little crime caper with Ian McGregor, who plays a news reporter who's trying to get a story on him, basically. So this Miles Davis, trying not to say the Miles Teller there. So yeah, Miles Davis, basically, obviously a famous real-life musician. He's just gone quiet. He's living in his mansion on his own, like just not doing music for a long time. And everyone, his publicist, his company are just trying to get him to make more music. He's saying he's working on stuff. He shuts himself off from the world. And Ian McGregor plays this news reporter who's just trying to get the scoop on him, like what's going on, what's he doing, why has he not been around in the public eye for so long? And then it's all based around this special sort of like thing he's been working on. So Miles Davis has been working on, and he's basically got these tapes that he's been working on, which he's like keeping very hush-hush, very close to his chest, and they do get stolen. So when they get stolen, he then goes on a little bit of a crime spree trying to find them again. So he takes on these little gangster kind of figures who have stolen his tapes, and then him and Ewan McGregor on the run from them because they chase him back. It was a strange, bizarre little film, but I quite enjoyed it. It's worth picking up just for a bit of a weird tale that I'm not quite sure why Miles Davis was based around it, but he was, and it was decent. Definitely worth £1.50 admission price on this one anyway. Okay, so another one that on paper has everything that I would like from a movie. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to go in. I'm going to pick this one up. It's got Mia Goth. It's got Robert Pattinson. It's a sci-fi borderline horror or thriller to some extent, and it's called High Life. So £5. Had a slipcover. I was like, yep, that is ticking too many boxes for me not to pick that one up. Boring as hell I found this one. So this one, Jesus, like it took a while. It's quite long, and it doesn't help the fact that it feels extra long when you're watching it. How long is this one? 113 minutes, and not even 2 hours. It definitely does feel that 2 hours, sadly. Yeah, so on paper, like I say, everything about this should work for me. It just really didn't. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that one. I would not recommend that one to anyone. So I've got two more here. These are all from the month of July. Now this one here was I just couldn't resist. I've already got this movie and I've double dipped, but I will get rid of the other one. So the only reason I picked this up is because it had the slipcover on. It sounds awful, but I just couldn't turn it down. And that is a Mutilator. So for £6, the Mutilator, 80s kind of like slasher horror. I do have this film, like I say, but without the slip. So for £6, I came with that and the booklet inside, and I thought I just can't turn that down. To get the slipcover versions of these on eBay, as everyone knows, you're talking double digits and up easily. You're talking, 10, 20, £30. I think at the time, £30 to £40 was the going rate for this edition on eBay. So I thought, I can't turn it around as £6. And I know that my single edition will probably sell back to CEX in a few months' time for £6. So I'll get my money back and just upgrade the slipcover, which looks amazing, by the way, for free. Just to give you a comparison without the slip. So it looks fine, but yeah, I don't know if it shows up quite as well in the camera there, but yeah, definitely worth picking up just for the slip, I think, based on getting my money back later on for just selling the other version as well. So yeah, the last one I picked up in July was a movie, again, recommended by Ollie from Ollie's World of Movies. Why have I gone blank on Ollie? I watch him all the time. Anyway, I'll link him down below. Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall in the movie called The Judge. So this one, £2, again from CEX, cheap as chips. Absolutely amazing. Really enjoyed this movie. Yep. So obviously Robert Downey Jr. plays a guy who's a high-shot, high-flying, highly confident, lawyer in the big city, whereas his dad lives in this sort of like smaller kind of like not country, I suppose, smaller town village in America, I suppose, where everyone sort of knows each other's names, and it's very different to the big flying city that his son Robert Downey Jr. has gone and carved himself a nice big high-flying career out of. And his dad plays, obviously, the judge. So he's getting on in years now, but he does play the judge, and he knows a lot of the local community. He has a very high respect level in that town, but he's sadly, with his age, he's also declining in his health as well. So Robert Downey Jr. is going back there just to check on him. He's sort of meeting up with his family. He doesn't see him very often. He ends up getting sort of like scraped in. So there's an incident that happens involving the judge while he's back there, or potentially involving the judge while he's back there, which means that he could be facing imprisonment himself. And Robert Downey Jr., being a sort of high-flying, high-powered lawyer with extreme confidence, just decides that he's going to try and stick back into this like old sleepy village that he came from and grew up in, and just to try and keep his dad out of hot water and try and keep him out of trouble. His dad, the incident that it is, his dad honestly can't remember whether he did do the incident or not. So he's a very honest man, and he's going against a lot of the advice and a lot of the advice and sort of recommendations that his sons make him. He doesn't particularly get on well with his son. There's a bit of a tension there, but yeah, really good tale. Really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend this one if you like that sort of thing. Yeah, that's the last one from July. Okay, so a lot fewer now in August. I didn't go as crazy in August. I've finally got it down to like a very few. I think it's about 7 titles. So again, similarly to what I was doing before at the start of July, I've upgraded some transfers on here. So this one was, I know a lot of people out there don't like this movie whatsoever, but for me it is just ticks all my boxes, and it came out at the right time for me. I was at the right age, the right mentality, and that is Jason X. So I had to get the 4K version of Jason X. I know it's a terrible movie. I enjoy it so much. To sort of like paraphrase, I think it's Jim from Jim's Movies channel. What did he say? He basically said, whenever I hear him say it, I think that is spot on for what I think about a lot of my movies. So, it's not a great movie, but I enjoy the hell out of it or something like that. It's a very enjoyable movie. So, yeah, really, really good movie. I enjoyed this a lot. Can't recommend it to a lot of people because it's a very niche thing to like. But, yeah, obviously one of the Friday the 13th movies where it goes absolutely off the rails and Jason goes to space, becomes Uber Jason or Cyber Jason, whatever you want to call him, and just goes nuts. But, yeah, ticks all my boxes. Nostalgia filled for me. So another one based on pretty much nostalgia and having a VHS growing up. That is the FX. Whoa, nearly lost it. I forgot I'd opened that one. FX and FX2 box set there. Really enjoy these movies. I don't understand why other people don't enjoy these movies so much. I hear a lot of negativity about these, but for me it works. And I think it's because of one of the reasons I really enjoy movies is the practical effects in things, how people do special effects in movies, especially back in the day of the 80s and 90s when a lot of it was purely real in-camera effects. That's what these movies are pretty much all based around. A guy who gets involved in sort of like, and I haven't seen these in many, many years, so my synopsis may be slightly ajar compared to what the real synopsis is, but my memory is this guy basically gets roped in to help solving a crime using his special effects skills, so he has to put certain things up make people look like they've been shot or dead with like, you know, squibs and stuff, just to try and like lure this person or try and catch this person thereafter. Like, this is the vaguest memory I've got of it, but I remember really enjoying it. I remember he had like a remote control clown thing in there, like a fully sized clown, which I really enjoyed as a kid. So yeah, FX1, FX2, I enjoy the hell out of these movies. So the next movie I picked up, another recommendation from Ollie, and that is a movie called Journeyman. So yeah, this has got Paddy Considine, which, you know, Dead Man's Shoes, if anyone knows that movie. A really good actor. Yep, Ollie sort of sung this one's praises, and I can't, you know, deny this was a great film in terms of this was a great film in terms of its story, how it told the story, how it shot. Everything was fine with this movie. I just think the only thing it doesn't have for me is a lot of rewatch value. So I really enjoyed the time with it, did not get bored, found everything really good with this movie. I will keep it in the collection, but I just don't see how many times I can rewatch this movie. It's quite a heavy hitting movie, so it's about a fighter. Paddy Considine plays a fighter who goes into the ring. He's getting sort of older now, not necessarily old, and this newer sort of like younger guys coming into the ring, giving it all the big one, saying he's going to ruin him. And, you know, he has his fight, and he comes out of the fight, and after his fight, this is all quite early on in the film, he ends up having sort of like a bit of a turn after his fight and puts him in the hospital, and he doesn't come out the same, that's all I'll say. And then he has to live with that and deal with that, and so do the people around him. So yeah, really good sort of like drama, if you like those dramas. Not much fighting in it, so if you're thinking this is a fighting movie or boxing movie, there's only like maybe a scene or two towards the start, and then it goes straight into like a drama and a sort of like people dealing with things that have gone on since you know, this sort of like tragic thing happens to him. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. We'll keep it. I just think maybe the weight of the movie is probably a bit too heavy to just throw on as a bit of fun in the evenings, which I like to do. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. So yeah, that's Journeyman. Now the next one I picked up, so this one again I've heard pretty much mostly negative things from a lot of people on this one, but I'm going against the grain again. That is Heart Eyes. So yeah, I think, to be fair, I think Ollie, if you haven't got to this one yet, I think this might be up your street. I know you're not into horror massively, but this is pretty much a sort of romantic comedy with sort of a 90s horror thriller sort of thrown on top of it, and sort of blended together. I really enjoyed this. I thought the killer in this was amazing. The kills in this were amazing. The scenes where they take out people were fantastic. I love the fast-pacedness of the killer there. We just like no holds barred, just bam, 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 going for it. So yeah, it follows a couple who are sort of like, they're not dating. They're just two friends, basically, or sort of acquaintances that meet, but they get mistaken for a couple by this killer who's going around killing people who are, you know, basically dating on Valentine's Day. And he decides, you know, he's got them in the sights, so therefore they are a couple, and he's going after them. They try and explain to him, like, we're not a couple. He doesn't have any of it. He's just shooting stuff at them, you know, bows and arrows, that sort of thing. And he's got his knives, machetes, that sort of stuff, and he's just going for it, and they're just sort of trying to survive. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot of fun. One I can watch over and over again, just throw on any time. Don't think it's going to be for everyone, because it doesn't lean heavily into the horror for long enough, possibly for a lot of people. It's not extreme horror. It just has like big helpings of horror thrown into a romantic sort of comedy movie all for an hour and a half. Hope that makes some sort of sense. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, Heart Eyes. So this one is one that I've had on my radar to pick up. I've seen it when it first came out, and just thought I will pick it up when I get to see it. I just haven't seen it in a CX form, well, until now. And that is Russell Crowe in Unhinged. So yeah, obviously this one, if you haven't seen it, is basically Russell Crowe plays a guy who, you know, he's on the motorway somewhere. Someone sort of like gives him a bit of grief from his car from what he does, and he makes it his mission then to absolutely ruin their day for the rest of the day. So think a little bit of Fallen Down with Michael Douglas, where you just had enough and you're just going for it, but focused on pretty much one person for the rest of the day. Yeah, it's fine. It's not amazing. It's not going to break new ground anywhere, but it's just a fun sort of like thriller, I suppose you'd class this one as, where he's just going off the rails, trying to do anything he can to sort of like hunt down someone for just a bit of everyday road rage, I suppose. But yeah, fun enough, especially for £2. That's Unhinged. And the last two I haven't seen yet. I think I may have seen this one a long time ago, but I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Sammy G's recommended this one a few times beforehand, and that's Summer's Town. So that is, yeah, it's only £2. I think it's one of these, what was it now? Optimum release or something like that. They did this series of sort of special looking videos, I think. But anyway, it's a Shane Meadows movie, so I do like Shane Meadows. I do want to check it out. So for £2, it's got that guy from This Is England. I can't think of his name now, but I'm sure a lot of you guys will already know him. Do want to check it out. Can't say a lot about it because I can't remember if I've seen it or not. I don't feel like I have, but I do remember. I'm pretty sure Sammy G were recommending this one some point in the past. And then the last one I picked up most recently. Now, for years and years, I thought this was pretty much just a music video or a sort of compilation of Prince songs. I had no idea it was an actual film. I may still be wrong on that, but I feel like it's an actual film. And that is Prince in Purple Rain. So yeah, it wasn't until I was looking up different movies and it came across this one, and I sort of wrongly assumed, I think, that it was just sort of like a music video based thing, but apparently it's a real film, so who knew? Every day's a school day, as they say. So yeah, looking forward to checking that one out. Looks quite interesting. Was it 80s? Doesn't say on the front there. I'd imagine it'd be probably 80s for Prince, possibly 90s. Anyway, doesn't matter. So yep, that is the last one I picked up in this month of August, and that concludes all of my pickups for July and August. So yeah, all being well, I'll try and be back in the end of September for a regular monthly haul, barring any unexpected events like we had last time. So yeah, thanks as always for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.